1322 is the field trip board policy and administrative regulation number 6153. This item was on the board agenda under the action items 2 weeks ago. My first question, is it normal board procedure to vote new board policies and administrative regulations into effect during the consent agenda? In the past, my memory is that new BP and AR are always voted in during the business action item portion of the meeting. Is there a reason we're voting this in during the consent agenda? Also, I continue to have problems with this draft as it exists. On page 1, there's a sentence, all international staff school-sponsored trips must be submitted to the superintendent or designee for board consideration. I do not understand what this sentence means. Is it referring to staff trips? If so, I would like to repeat my concerns from 2 weeks ago that this has nothing to do with field trips for students. If, however, this sentence is referring to student field trips, what does it mean? What is an international staff school-sponsored trip? Also on page 1, it says that all one-day trips require 10 days notice. One-day trips more than 30 miles must be approved by the principal and then sent to the superintendent or designee for approval. Is 10 days enough time to ensure that this will happen, that it goes through the site principal to the superintendent and then back? I would hate for school trips to be canceled last minute because we didn't meet a deadline. Also on page 1 at the very bottom, while I support the idea of a principal being able to ensure the safety and success of all field trips by having purview over some decisions, I am concerned about the sentence, principals may exclude from the trip any student whose presence on the trip would pose a safety or disciplinary risk. Do we have other board policies that describe how this might be interpreted? I am concerned, 1, that special education students might be excluded in disproportionate numbers from field trips with this sentence being used as an excuse. Also, in the absence of clarifying language, I fear that this might be used to exclude students who are not in the good graces of their administrators. On page 2, there appears this sentence, trips which provide any monetary advantage to a certificated employee other than transportation, lodging, and food from a for-profit company are prohibited. What does this have to do with field trips? It appears to be directed at certificated staff and trips and does not explicitly state anything about student field trips, and therefore it should be clarified, maybe, or removed. Also, if you choose to keep it and clarify it, I would ask you to consider what it is saying. I have traveled on student trips before that included transportation and lodging and food, but also included the admission to Broadway plays or the Metropolitan Museum or the Empire State Building as part of the trip. Would that be excluded?
That's time.
Thank you. I sent all of these concerns to you in an email earlier today. I do understand that it was late.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds.